All right, welcome in to episode 3 of the Jordan Watkins Show, presented by CardinalSports.com. I'm your host, Ty Spalding, joined by Louisville wide receiver Jordan Watkins. Jordan, what's going on, man?
What's going on?
So we're just over, 48 hours or so away from fall camp getting started. The announcement came out that fans are going to be allowed to attend practice. Does that do anything as a player? Does it give you all any extra juice? Obviously there weren't any fans at practice last year. What does that dynamic add to the first practice of fall camp?
I think it adds a little bit of dynamic. You know what I mean? Of course, everybody's going to be amped up a little bit, just because the fans are there. But I think the main thing is that this is the first day that we get to come out here and throw a football around. We finally get to come out here and throw a football around a little bit, and I think that's what we're most excited about. Is just to get out there and do that, because there's nothing better than getting out there and putting on your cleats and getting out there to start fall camp at any level, because that means the season's right around the corner. And I think we're gonna come out and just be all amped up and be ready to go.
Gotcha. So the fall camp schedule is getting underway here. You all will start off, I'm assuming, in helmets only, and kind of work your way up. Is there any set day when you all will put on full pads, or what's that schedule look like?
Usually, and this is with any football program, at any level, usually you go helmets, about maybe 3 practices, somewhere around that range, and then you'll start going shoulder pads, and then you'll technically get into full pads, within about maybe a week, just with the regulations, because you have to have a couple days helmets, a couple days shoulder pads, and then a couple days to where you can fully get into it, and fully go full pads and start scrimmaging and all that fun stuff.
Gotcha. So fall camp, is that something where you all are at the complex most of the day, or how does that schedule work? I'm assuming you all are pretty busy, pretty tied up during fall camp.
Oh yeah, fall camp is just a busy time for anybody. We'll I think our schedule starts around 6 o'clock in the morning, breakfast time. So that's when our breakfast is, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll practice at 9:30. We'll have our meetings in between practice time and breakfast time, and then then we're pretty busy with lifts and meetings and walkthroughs and all that fun stuff until about 9 o'clock at night. So, or about 9:30 at night, and then we'll probably have another team meeting somewhere between then. And then more than likely get home about 10 o'clock at night, and then go to sleep and do it all over again.
Gotcha. Now getting into practice, what kind of walk fans through the different drills that they may see on Sunday morning. You got 7-on-7, you got one-on-ones.
Right. Yeah.
You got 11-on-11. What kind of drills from your position group, and maybe as the offense as a whole, should fans keep an eye out for?
Yeah, we do a variety of different things. Our practices move so quick throughout the entire thing, so you'll never see us standing around in one place ever. So there's a lot of things that you can you're going to see at practice if you come to the practice. You'll see, like you said, 7-on-7, 11-on-11, one-on-ones, of course. And then you'll also see some position. We'll break off in position groups as well. We might do a walkthrough period to get the install acclimated, so that way everybody knows the script and what plays we're going over whenever we do get to 11-on-11. But actually 11-on-11, that's actually comes pretty quick in the practice. We call that a light me up period, and that's where the ones will run about 5 plays against the ones on defense, and then the twos will run another 5 plays. against the twos against defense as well. So you'll see a lot of different things. 11 on 11. I think about twice in the practice, and then you'll also see position groups for about 10 minutes, break off individually. So you'll get to walk around, look at the different position groups, and check out pretty much everybody. So there's a lot to look forward to during the practice on Sunday.
Cool. Now, so it just kind of talking about your position coach, Gunnar Brewer. So as a fan, if they're in his shoes, what is he looking for out of his wide receivers during a practice? Is it the footwork? Is it the routes? Just as a fan, what for the wide receiver specifically, what is the intricacies that he may be looking for from his group specifically?
Yeah, what he looks for is he just looks at the fundamentals. Coach Brew preaches the fundamentals like crazy. That's all he wants to see because whenever you get to the league, everybody's fast. Or at this level, everybody's fast. Everybody can catch. Everybody can run. So he really looks for is what is the small details of to how he can make you different from everybody else in the country. And I think that's what separates him from a lot of coaches because he does work on the fundamentals a lot. Um, he works on the three steps getting out of your break. He works on the stance and starts. He works on are you looking the ball in whenever you catch it, or your hand placement whenever you're catching the ball, so that way you can catch the ball clean. Are you ripping the ball out of the air so that way the defender can't hit the ball? He looks for all that kind of stuff. He's just a technically sound coach, and he likes the small details, and he likes the way he coach it. He likes the way he coaches it to be ran that way. So he's just a small stickler for the details, and I think that's what separates him from a lot of other coaches.
Gotcha. We're gonna get into just a couple questions here. If you're watching, you have a question, you can throw a comment in there as well. We had someone on our website at ask, going along with Coach Brewer, what kind of coach is he, like off the field, or is he a player's coach? Kind of how would you describe him as a coach?
Yeah, I would say he definitely puts his players first. He definitely lives ball. He I mean that's all he does is live ball. He wants to watch film all the time. Even when we're not supposed to be watching film, he's always texting, "Hey, are you watching film? Hey, did you see this?" He's always sending out clips of other different receivers, like, "Hey, did you see this?" or "Hey, did you see that?" But not only just getting away from the football standpoint, but he takes care of his players. He always makes sure that we're fine. Mentally, because football does put a lot of stress on players. So he'd make sure he checks up on us, make sure that we're doing okay. And if we got something going on at home, other than football, away from the stadium, he makes sure that we can handle that. And so he's just a loving coach. And he truly does look out for us and wants our best interests on and off the field.
Gotcha. Along those lines, you mentioned he shows different, film of different receivers. Is that NFL guys that he's coached, or just NFL receivers that he thinks your game is similar to? What kind of players does he show you all
Uh,
to kind of help you all learn?
Yeah, he shows not just NFL players, he'll show college players, he'll show uh high school players. If something looks good, he'll send it. He'll send it to us, and he'll make sure, he'll be like, "Hey, did you see the way he did this, or did you see the way he did that?" And it doesn't matter what level you're at. It doesn't matter if he's coached you, it doesn't matter if he coached them, it doesn't matter if it's high school, youth, it doesn't matter what it is. If it looks good and it's technically sound and it's something that could help us boost ourselves against the opponent, he's definitely going to send it out.
Gotcha. All right, another question here comes on Twitter. What was the first thing you thought of when you first suited up for Game 1 last year?
I would say, it was just like, wow. I remember walking into the locker room and seeing my name on my jersey for the first time, and I was just like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Like, I'm walking out of the tunnel for my home city, in front of my home city, and just like it was just like, oh my gosh, is this real? Like somebody pinch me, somebody wake me up. So that's what it felt like. And then walking out of the tunnel, it finally just like snapped. It's like, okay, it's game time. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was like for me.
Gotcha. Now, another question here. I'm kind of curious about this. Did Have you all been? Obviously, you open up the season with Ole Miss September 6th. Have you all been watching film on them throughout the summer, or does that start when fall camp starts? How does that schedule work when you start installing a specific game plan? When do you all start focusing on that game one team?
Oh, you start focusing now. You start focusing before. We've done scouting reports on Ole Miss of the current of what we know from film that we've watched last year and whatnot. So that you definitely start preparing now, because if you don't start preparing now, then you're not going to be prepared. I know that in the next couple of short well, after our first game, we got a short span of our next game, and then we have a short span of that game as well. Our next game after that. So, you definitely want to get as prepared as much as possible, so that way you can take care of business whenever it comes.
All right. Again, if anyone has any questions, drop them in. We'll answer as many as we can. So when you all start practice, do you do kind of 50% working on your own stuff and 50% preparing for Ole Miss? How does the practice get divided up between more so going against Louisville's defense, or versus
Mhm.
going against like a scout team that's given trying to give a look for Ole Miss? How is that divided up during practices?
Right. So camp is pretty much going up against our own defense. Just installing all the installs that we have, installing our plays, and the defense installing their plays as well. So a lot of the stuff that we'll do will go up against our defense pretty much the whole time of camp. And then whenever it gets to about that 2 week mark, to whenever game time comes, and whenever it gets to about that 2 week mark, we'll start doing chase teams, which is our scout teams, um, and whatnot.
So you mentioned 2 weeks out is kind of when you start gearing up for Ole Miss specifically. What does a normal game week look like? Is there a Monday is focused on this, Tuesday is focused on this,
Right.
Wednesday is focused on this? What does a typical game week look like as far as each day for practice? What does that look like?
Right. So Mondays are our off days. Mondays are our days. So whenever we come, so say we have a game on Saturday, we come back and practice on Sunday. We so Sunday typically is our correctional day. That's whenever we go back and we'll uh we'll fix all the corrections that or all the misassignments that we had. We'll go back and fix them. And we also get a little conditioning in as well. We'll run some 55s, some half gassers, and what I mean, not some half gassers, but some just 55s, a little jog, just to get our legs loose. And then like I said, we'll go back over and we'll go over all of our corrections. And then on the Monday is our off day. And then Tuesday we come back, and that's when we pretty much are going over the game plan of what we're going to do uh, for the opponent that we have on Saturday or the next week. So, and that's pretty much how it will go throughout the whole series of the week. There's not really dedicated for, or there is actually dedicated whenever we're going up against. We'll work on red zone. We'll work on first and 10, third down situational. And we'll work on them for certain days.
Okay, we got a question here. On the Twitter, it looks like, what are your expectations from you individually this upcoming season?
Yeah. For me, I just have high expectations for myself always. I always want to hold myself to high expectations. But I just want to be able to contribute to the team in any way possible that I can. That's pretty much what it's all about for me. It's not really much about me individually. It's about the team, because I look at it as, if you're not winning football games, then you can't get drafted. Or you know what I'm saying? Because people don't want losers; they want winners. So it's pretty much what about I can contribute to the team and not pretty much individually. So I just think if I take care of my business and take care of my role in the team, everything will fall out how it's supposed to go.
Gotcha. Again, if anybody has any questions, we'll try to get to a couple more here. Um, we also had another one on Twitter. Looks like from one of your high school teammates, favorite high school teammate. Looks like from Antoine Shaw.
It would probably be him. Antoine would probably be my favorite high school teammate. A lot of the times, in high school, he knew the playbook a lot better than I did. So he was my slot receiver. So a lot of the times I would look at him and ask him what I had because he knew the playbook a lot better than I did. So mid play, the coach would give the signal out, and then I would look over to him and I'd be like, "What do I got? I don't know what I got. What do I got?" And then he'd tell me, and then we just get out there and run it, score some touchdowns.
That's good stuff there. Let's get to a couple more here, and then we'll wrap it up. As far as getting back to practice, just for fans going, um, when you all have your install period, um, the different routes that you all run, is it as basic as grade school stuff like an out, an in, slant, post? Is it as basic as it seems, or does it get more complicated at the college level?
I mean, it gets a little bit complicated because there's reads within the routes that we have. So if you get a certain coverage, you got to run a route a certain way. And if you run it that certain way, then you got to make sure it times up with the quarterback, and the quarterback knows what you're doing. So that's where repetition in the summer comes in. Because we've been building that bond with Malik all summer and all spring, running routes and just getting that bond and that connection. So yeah, it gets a little bit more complicated because you definitely have different reads within the routes, but some of it could get pretty basic, but then some of it can get complex as well.
So does those routes where you kind of read the defense, is that like an option route essentially?
Sort of. It's kind of like an option route a little bit. Just like I said, you have to be on the same page with the quarterback. So if the quarterback always has his pre-read of the defense before he snaps the ball. So if the quarterback sees it and you see it, then you can run it that way. But it has to be within the game plan, and it has to be within what League's comfortable with.
Perfect. Well, we're coming up on the end of this episode again. Sunday morning at 9:30, fall camp opens up. At the beginning of the show, I said 48 hours. We're closer to 24 hours than we are 48 hours. So
Yeah.
So Sunday at 9:30, Jordan gave some good insights on what kind of drills you may be seeing if you go, and what to look for from the wide receiver group specifically. So go and check that out Sunday morning at 9:30. Louisville football begins fall camp. We will try to catch up with Jordan sometime during fall camp to get an update on how things are going. As he said earlier, the fall camp schedule is pretty busy. So we haven't set a specific date as when we're going to do our next episode. But we're shooting for sometime during, the first week of fall camp to kind of get an update from Jordan. Jordan, anything else on this episode before we wrap it up?
No, man. I think that pretty much wraps it up, and I just want to appreciate all my viewers for watching and supporting me throughout this journey that we're all going for. Because I'm new to this just as anybody else is. So thank you guys for tuning in.
Any update on any of your gear or shirts or any of that on your personal stuff?
Yeah, I did. I definitely I signed with T-shirt Hooligans, the same one that Marshawn signed with, and a couple other the Louisville basketball players as well. So we're working on getting that stuff released, and we're also got a little collab going on with the 502 boys. So I'm super excited for that, and I'm super excited to release that so that way everybody can finally, purchase my merchandise. And a lot of it will be going to different things for different. A lot of the revenue will be going to kids who pretty much like me who didn't have a lot growing up around the holiday times, because the holiday times is coming up, so I definitely want to a lot of the revenue is going to be going towards that, so I'm super excited for that.
That's awesome. Again, Jordan's check out Jordan's gear, T-shirt, Hooligan. It sounds like it's going to be going to help out the Louisville community. So check that out. And Jordan, we'll catch up with you soon. Best of luck with fall camp starting. I'll be out there on Sunday. I'm sure a lot of fans will be as well. But best of luck, and we'll talk soon.
Alrighty, appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.
All right, that'll do it.
Alrighty.